Welcome to episode 313 of the Grip Strip Podcast, the first time, long time edition of the Grip Strip Podcast. I feel like I've used that before, but it fits here this week. My name is Philip Matthew. I'm your host, and as always, I'm with my co-host, the iRacing Indy 500 champion, computer genius, a gentleman and a scholar, someone who is privy to watching dad bowl a 279 while wrangling his kids. His name is Josh Fine. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great, Phil. But yeah, of course, saw someone almost bowl 300 over the weekend at the bowling alley. Crazy stuff there. It was incredible to see until the 10th frame there. But first time, long time. Yeah, I think you've used that one before, but yeah, it's definitely fitting for a guy like Carson Hocevar, of course, winning this weekend at Talladega in the Cup Series for sure. And honestly, I think for everybody that won this weekend at Talladega, it was first time, long time for sure. So yeah, ready to get into everything that happened at Talladega.
Yeah, for Hurricane Hocevar, Cleetus, McFarland, one of his buddies there, other than Gagson, who actually got a decent finish, which is something, considering how drunk he probably was from the Boulevard. But Hurricane Hocevar goes and gets his first career Cup Series victory, does one of the more interesting post-win celebrations in NASCAR history. Was close to either getting nailed in the face with a beer can or catching a beer can in the process there, so there's that. We'll talk about the Jack Links 500, everything that happened there. Corey Day in the O'Reilly Series gets his first career win. First win for Hendrick there. I mean, Hendrick's been running this year on the 88 car and elsewhere throughout that series. So talk about that. Andy Jankowiak, Andy J., modified tour driver for years and has driven TQs here in the Northeast. Upstate New York guy, cool dude in his 30s, not that far away from me age-wise, but has been a grinder, been a journeyman driver, driving for Andy Seiss, who's another modified tour driver standout in the ARCA series, gets the victory. Got booed, and it's funny, they mentioned it on their podcast earlier today. Feel like it was McFarland fans that were booing him, but I think it was more, they're saying, oh, well, he didn't do a burnout. I'm like, well, Andy J saves his equipment. So he's more old school that way, but I think just the genuineness of his reaction shows that he's a really good dude. And I mean, to be fair to Cleet, who finished second in that race and might have been the best race of the weekend, to be fair. He had a chance to win that deal. And if he had won it, they're talking about Hocevar winning it and the Boulevard burning down. If Cleet had actually won that race on Saturday, I don't think anything would have been left at Talladega. I think they would have had to do a renovation because they would have torched the whole entire infield. So yeah, we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about what our teams did in the NFL draft. The roundup busy with the Rally Canary Islands, or WRC, MotoGP, Moto2 at Jerez, 4 Wide Nationals at Charlotte. Formula E at Berlin will be this week, along with World Superbikes at Hungary, IMSA doing their throwback weekend at Laguna Seca, and then Formula 2 returns for the first time in a couple of months at Miami, which leads into our picks for the Grand Prix of Miami, the first Formula 1 race in a month. And then this next stage of the season is going to be a little bit more kind of like choppy until they get to the European season. They'll be racing in Miami and then Canada. So we'll see how all the upgrades and everything comes. We'll make our picks for Texas in all 3 series. Josh will let us know all things going on. iRacing Gaming is Sim segment, and then we'll call it a day. So yeah, let's get into the Jack Links 500. Took place on Sunday. And I mean, a lot of the race, I mean, to be fair, the way it was determined was pit road coming out, being able to get out front. It was pretty difficult to pass which, I mean, can just yet another example of this car, ruining another type of racing. So now they've ruined the short track racing. Now you're adding the super speedway aspect of it outside of Atlanta, which is its own unique thing. 26 cars, I think, were involved in that's how the leaders. I was trying to, 20 something cars were destroyed in an accident early, about 114 laps into the race. So did just about 20 laps into stage 2, after the 98 lap first stage, which the NASCAR was trying to do to go and make them run harder. In the end, there were different strategies, a lot of pit road issues for different drivers. Briscoe running through his pit, which left him, in the back. Denny Hamlin had issues on pit road with speeding. There was a bunch of speeding penalties, a bunch of other problems there on pit road, and that caused consternation, a lot of issues for those drivers, and put them in the mix to get themselves destroyed. And in the case of the wreck was triggered at the front of the field. Darrell Walsh Jr. was up front leading, got turned by Ross Chastain, and then just cleared out most of the field there. Larson, Logano, Custer, Blaney, Byron, Keebler, Gibbs, Josh Berry, all were knocked out. Other drivers had severe damage, like McDowell, Brad Keselowski, who at least had gotten some stage points. Briscoe was involved in that deal. Chad Fincham, who actually had led 8 laps in the race because of the whole fuel save and whatever thing. Chad Fincham with the Carl Long 66, when him and Cody Ware both decided to drive up front, which was nice. It was cool to see. Kind of a shame if Casey Mears had been able to make the race. I think he would have probably done the same thing, because the 44 was a piece of shit. So yeah, those were and then the 33 had issues because I think Jesse Love had sped on pit road or whatever, but, and then Daniel Dye, whatever. But in the end, once they had the pit road or whatever, last pit stop, it was Carson Hocevar, Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman up front. And then in the end, that's where they finished. Hocevar making a move there late, drafting off of Buescher, getting the help from Bowman. And there's irony in that based on just what we were talking about prior to getting on air, because of what I kind of have been feeling for a while. But for Carson Hocevar, one of the more popular drivers in the sport these days, definitely someone who gets people talking one way or the other, good, bad, or indifferent. They say he's got Earnhardt vibes. I think he's got Ernie Irvan vibes. And Ernie Irvan was able to win races and have a career in this sport and compete for a championship and stuff like that. And I think Hocevar's got a lot of the things you want. He does drive like an idiot at times and seems to be unapologetic about it, which is not great. But if you drive well and you win enough, he's kind of got Kyle Busch vibes, which I think connects to him too. But for Hocevar, he goes out there, gets the job done, gives Spire their first victory. I think since the Justin Haley win or whatever years ago. I don't think they've ever won a race other than that. So this is their first win since, it was like 2018. And that was 19. Okay. Yeah, thank you. And then, so first win since then, first, like, we could call like actual win, because that was a fuel mileage win there. Buescher finishes second, gets good stage points. Bowman, Clyde, Zane Smith, Hey, Richard. Ross Chastain, who won stage 2. Gumby Cindric, last year's winner there. Gagson finished 9th. Kyle Busch finished 10th after starting 34th. Other stage point earners, Gilliland in 11th. Tyler Reddick, who had damage from the big wreck, finished 14th. Christopher Bell 17th. Priest won stage 1, finished 18th. Got involved in that wreck late in the last lap wreck that took Bell, Priest, Dillon, I believe SVG. Cody Ware got stage points. Brad Keselowski in 31st, Josh Berry 33rd, Ryan Blaney 37th, and Joey Logano 39th. So, yeah, I mean, you had 52 lead changes among 16 drivers. Most laps led was Denny Hamlin, actually Bell. Bell and Hamlin were up front a lot. The Toyotas had the front for a while, and then pit road miscues and the like cost them. Chastain, who's had a terrible year this year, wanted to maximize his points opportunities, and in part with the destruction of the field, definitely did. But it came down to Hocevar and Buescher, and for Hocevar, Josh, I think it's a start of something big, and I think it could mean bigger opportunities, even though I know Spire, and we talked about this, has signed him to like a 4-year, 5-year extension. He's, I think, signed through 2030, and he's got different sponsors with him, but I'd venture to say there's some other Chevy teams that would probably want his services based on his reach.
Yeah, definitely. With his reach there, I mean, 6'5", got a good reach there. Almost catching that beer there during the celebration, and all that. But no, I mean, for Carson Hocevar, I mean, it's been a long time coming there, because we've seen what he can do in the Truck Series. We saw what he could do when he stepped in for Legacy when Noah Gragson was fired back in 2023, and it seemed like immediately he was able to fit into a Cup car and drive it just as good as the rest of the field there in a Legacy car, which at that time was not really good, right? And it's just been a slow, progressive upward swing for him. Almost won the Daytona 500 this year. He almost had a lot of other almost wins last year. Remember, up front at Michigan, late in the going, and then had an engine problem there, or something, flat tire or whatever, and has had so many opportunities to win in the Cup Series and be close. And this year they've been pretty consistent. They've been in the top 10 in the standings. They've been up there and everything, and now finally up front here at Talladega here to become 13th first time winner here at Talladega. Pretty incredible for him. And not only that, but you've seen what he can do social media wise. He's pretty active on Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, he has a huge following with young fans on Twitch, right? With the streamers like iShowSpeed, all these other Twitch streamers that are super popular and super big and everything. He's often been involved with those people, trying to grow his fan base, trying to grow the sport. He plays a lot of iRacing, of course, streaming on there, right? So all these things, rising star here in the Cup Series. So finally getting first time win here, Talladega. Pretty huge for him, and all that. And then he had help from his Hendrick teammate there, or corporate teammate, I guess, in Chevy, with Alex Bowman there pushing him, of course. And obviously there's the never going to go away rumor of him probably replacing Alex Bowman at Hendrick Motorsports. With Bowman, I think this is a contract year for him. He's performed well. Bowman's performed well in the 48 car, but you could probably put in Carson Hocevar there and get more out of it there. But Bowman there with a good run after what's been a bad year for him so far. So Hocevar did well here, and it's not for lack of trying, of course. I mean, he was up there the whole race, made moves. There was a move that's, I've seen on Twitter where he just cut through. I mean, I think they were like 3 wide, and he forced a gap to make it 4 wide and managed to squeeze his way in on the backstretch, and he was towards the back of the field and just had a huge run and was able to jump a few positions there to get up to the lead there. So it just shows how talented he is in the Cup Series and what he can do. And I think it also is just reflective of the effort that Spire's put in the last couple of seasons to reach the level that they currently are. With Hocevar and Michael McDowell and Daniel Suarez. Suarez had a fairly solid year too. So it's been an incredible run for Carson Hocevar, and obviously the celebration crazy. Mike Joy kept saying that it was a big nod to what Dale Earnhardt did washing the windshield in Richmond in 1985 or 86 or whatever. But this, I think it worked for him because he was still able to control the car, being 6'5" there. So I think that was part of it. But huge win for him. Of course, the rest of the field, huge one there, lap 115. The big one happening again as it usually does at Talladega. So obviously a lot of people not happy about that. The fuel saving obviously is still an issue there. It seems like the stage change links didn't really affect anything, and there's still adjustments that need to be made, and looks like they'll really have to nail something when they go to preseason testing in Daytona next January. So obviously a lot there, but for Hocevar, monumental win.
Yeah, it's just a big win in general for him, his organization. Start of something probably. 2 winners this year, first-time winners, and probably in terms of the juice behind them. One, of course, with nepotism and whatnot, with Gibbs, but the other one who definitely has a social media presence and energy, Chevy, one of Chevy's top prospects in Hocevar. So we'll see who the next person is to get a first win. I think I would say that probably Priest, in terms of getting a points win, would probably be that guy because he's got all the pedigree and everything, and the way that Roush has been running, RFK has been running this year. He's liable to be that next person, I would say, to get a win, first win, and a points win there. So it's either him or I would say probably Zilich, but we'll see how that goes. There aren't that many guys anymore in this field that haven't won in the Cup Series. At this point, I'm looking through the points. You have Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland, John Hunter, Gagson, Ty Dillon. Yeah, so there aren't that many guys that haven't won. So those are the 2 big ones there. So points. Reddick, of course, 110 up on Denny Hamlin. Blaney loses some ground. He's now in third, 140 back. Elliott, 144 back in fourth. Ty Gibbs, even with the issues on Sunday, is fifth. Larson, Buescher, Hocevar moves up to eighth. Bell, Keselowski round out your top 10. William Byron, Darrell Walsh Jr. keeps on losing spots. Priest, Suarez, talking about what Josh mentioned with Spire and how they're running. Logano, Cindric, rounding out your 16. Briscoe falls out by 4 points. Chastain is 21 points behind Cindric. And then Van Gisbergen's 31 points back. So those are the best Trackhouse cars there. And then you have 2 Spire cars up ahead of them. So it's interesting how that works. And we'll see how that all goes at Texas this coming weekend. Let's go over to the O'Reilly Series, the Ag Pro 300 at Talladega. And you had, You had 38 lead changes among 16 drivers. Carson Kvapil won one stage. Jess Allgaier won the other. Jesse Love and Carson Kvapil led the majority of the laps. So there was definitely some activity there. But in the end, when it came down to it right at the end of the race, Corey Day found himself in the right place at the right time. Brent Cruz Didn't get anything out of the day, more or less, but was able to get a finish out of it, I guess. Sheldon Creed, solid points day, wins the dash for cash. Corey Day, Brent Cruz, Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith, former winner at Talladega, Jeremy Clements, former winner, Super Speedway, Dean Thompson, Jesse Love, who started on pole, Buckshot Jones, Parker Retzloff, another top 10 for him, Austin Green, rounding out your top 10. Blaine Perkins got stage points in 12th. Austin Hill got a stage point, finished 13th. Ryan Sieg got stage points and finished 21st. Quapple, I mentioned, 22nd. Allgaier, 23rd. Sam Mayer in 25th. Harrison Burton, 27th, was wrecked there. And then Rajak Ruth, who's driving the 88, ends up 30th. David Starr blew up, had to start and park 14 laps into the race. Otherwise, I think Starr Poli had some issues, and then everybody else was running there. So, yeah, I mean, there was only 2 cautions, one at the end of the race there and one early in the race, which involves Starr Poli, the 42, and the 32 of Tyler Ankrum, who was running for Jordan Anderson there. Other than that, just that last lap wreck, and I mean some drivers that would be usual suspects on a weekly basis, but then you also had some guys that don't get the opportunity to be up front all the time. The Clements, Thompsons, Austin Green, of course, in his rookie year this year, new team. And then Retzloff, who's been doing a really good job this year, gets another top 10 finish. But the junior motorsports guys, at least in terms of the 7 and the 1 and the 88, all kind of left wondering what could have been, I guess. But for Corey Day, he led the one lap that mattered the most, the last one, and now he's a O'Reilly Series winner, Josh.
Yeah, it's funny how it works out for Corey Day, obviously dirt protege of Kyle Larson, right? And his first win comes at a speedway race. Now, granted, I mean, he'd run up front, I think, at Daytona, Atlanta, which obviously now technically a drafting track, right? So he's been up there in these races and everything. And yeah, now going up there, winning on the last lap there, which I think was by merit too, even though it did end under caution, right? So, you know, he's obviously able to go there and claim the win, of course. And like I said, yeah, dirt protege of Kyle Larson, who has, you know, not won on a speedway race in his entire, you know, Cup and O'Reilly Series career and truck career at that too. So, you know, pretty significant that his guy ended up winning here. So, yeah, that was, you know, obviously an exciting finish there to that race, of course. Yeah, Corey Day managed to slide down on the bottom there in turn 3 and 4 to get the win, past Sheldon Creed there on the backstretch to be able to get up there. It was interesting because I think he was also being challenged by Sam Mayer there, and I think Mayer got wrecked by a lapped car there at the end, so really unfortunate for Sam Mayer, kind of getting pushed out of the way by a lap car as he was being bump drafted to the lead. So yeah, it's pretty significant for Corey Day. And then of course, you know, he's been up there the whole season, just hasn't closed. Jason Kelsey was there on the pit box, helping out the pit crew. So some good content there and everything. But yeah, another wild Talladega race here. Yeah, we would have thought that somebody like, you know, Jesse Love, of course, led 37 laps. You know, guys like that. Austin Hill would have won, but you know, the rookie in Corey Day comes out with the win. Yeah, another wild finish here. And yeah, the junior motorsports guys, yeah, I mean, all of them kind of left wondering about this and how everything went. Yeah, obviously for them, you know, this is one of the tracks where they all circle up to win. And of course, you know, the best driver out of them was Sammy Smith there, finishing in the top 5. But yeah, everybody else, Roger Cruth, of course, back in the 88 car this past weekend, Just Nagar, Quapple, all finished outside of the 20s. So, yeah, pretty bad there. But, yeah, Corey Day, of course, still somewhat of a Junior Motorsports car because there's some collaboration still with Hendrick and Junior Motorsports between those guys. So, yeah, still big win for Hendrick there and Corey Day.
Yeah, and it solidifies himself points-wise. I mean, Allgaier, no matter what, I mean, he's got over 100-point lead on Sheldon Creed, but now he moves himself up to fourth, or stays in fourth. He's only 4 points behind Jesse Love, so as the year goes on, I think in terms of the reseeding for points, it'll matter. Buckshot Jones in fifth, Sammy Smith in sixth, Quapple, Hill, Gray, and Retzloff, your top 10. He moves up to 10th. Sawalch loses a spot. Caruth, 14 points out of Ryan Sieg, 12 points behind William Sawalch. Having to shuffle cars has affected him because he's driving the Jordan Anderson stuff versus like Quapple, I guess, with the majority of the time he's in the JRM equipment. For Brent Cruz, he's, of course, missed 4 races. And he's only 43 points? Yeah, 40 is 24. Yeah, I think it's 43 points out. And he's missed 4 races, so it shows how good he's really performing at. And it kind of shows like he's, if you really want to look at his teammates who both have won a race this year, it's entirely possible to make the case that Brent Cruz is the best of that group, just based on productivity there. So we'll see how that goes at Texas. I think that's really, and Brennan Poole's maybe that last person at the moment points wise that has a sneaky shot, but we'll see how that all goes. Yeah, so briefly get into the ARCA race. Andy Jankowiak gets the win. Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cleetus McFarland, was coming to the checkered flag. He put a block on Gustine, put him under the yellow line, and so they didn't penalize Gustine. Gustine had sold out. I forget who he sold out there late to try and win the race, but Isabella Robusto was leading coming to that white flag, trying to be the first woman to ever win in the ARCA series. Shauna Robinson finished second many years ago. So I think it was 1999 or 2000 or somewhere around there. She was driving for Cranifis, and like, what's it called? Travis Carter. And ran the series and one of the Frank Kimmel's championships. She finished second that year or something. Gio Ruggiero had the best car, ran up front most of the day, led the most laps. Taylor Reimer had gotten penalized on pit with a restart violation with her teammate Jack Wood. Ends up coming back up to 6th. Sean Core, who runs the super speedways and a handful of races here and there. Ryan Vargas. Wood, Daniel Dye finishing top 10. Will Kimmel with the destroyed front end actually still came out 11th. Jake Finch, 12th, former winner there. Logan Misuraka, 17th. Jake Bowman, who's running for points, finished 18th. Had a big save coming off the nose of, amongst others, Cleet. The wreck there late in the race took out George Siciliano, aka Squirrel McNutt, as they put him on the readout, along with Thomas Nunziata, Jersey owned Thomas Nunziata, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Jason Kitzmiller, the defending East Series champion. So amongst others there, Allie Owens destroyed her stuff in the tri-oval. And then Doza ARCA braked into Eric Caudell and absolutely knocked off the back end of his car. So, yeah. So, I mean, Andy Jankowiak gets the win, Northeast guy. Oh, wow. That's a cool picture. Cleet actually went down to victory lane and congratulated Andy J. Sold a bunch of Mr. Sam's spray wax. So on his number 30 car for what we call Rhett Jones Racing. So that was cool there. I think the best part of the race was the going into the in car. I think the connection that Cleet has with Butterbean. They were speaking a different language. It definitely wasn't English, but it was hilarious that when they were, he was trying to fire up Cleet, I think, or whatever. And I think Butterbean, if nothing else, I think he has a career on the mic too. He's a pretty good driver, but I think he could be on the mic as well. The way he was able to work in that booth there with Gumby and Phil Parsons and whatever. And I forget the main announcer guy was actually decent, so because it wasn't freaking Jamie Little. One piece of news, other than Chase Briscoe and the 19 team sucking, the 8 team has demoted. That's Kyle Busch's team, has demoted Jim Pullman after they signed him as the new crew chief after I'm forgetting his old crew chief's name. He went over to work with I'm just forgetting everybody's name. He went to work with Connor Zilic. But yeah, so Andy Street, formerly a longtime crew chief of Hank Hills in the O'Reilly series, has been brought back to crew chief the 8. He had been doing that last year as well. So in terms of, so let's go over here. Yeah, Randall Burnett. All right. So yeah, Randall Burnett moved from the 8 car. So then they put Andy Street on there for a little while. He'll be the crew chief for the rest of this season. Street, who has served as performance director, performance director, Christ almighty. That was their first top 10 of the year, and then they fired Jim Pullman, or demote Jim Pullman. I mean, we were talking about that whole, like, Carson Hocevar and where he might go. We've already heard about, Larson, of course, signed his deal. Reddick signed a multi-year extension now with 2311. I think Kyle Busch is someone that still might be in play, still might have something. And, it's interesting they're making this move now. I mean, they're pretty buried in points. It's not like they're not going to make the chase. So it seems like a desperation move when they're well off the pace, I mean. And it doesn't really solve anything. It doesn't seem like, I figured you'd want to have somebody who has a different set of ideas, but I think maybe part of the problem is Pullman and him don't see eye to eye, or Pullman, which, I mean, to me, with RCR, there's many problems I would have with Richard Childress anyway, but you would think that you're getting a guy who's worked for JRM for how many years, worked with Allgaier because they've been friends and they have a relationship, whatever, but he's a good crew chief. The notion that Kyle Busch wouldn't have been involved in those discussions and that they would actually go and figure out, do they, can they actually work as a team when you go and make this hire, and then the guy is coming into the Cup Series first time as a Cup Series crew chief with this brand new car, which is already brutal as it is in general for people who've been working on it. And you give him 10 races and then you pull the plug on him. I mean, it seems really, really poor. And mediocre. It just seems like mediocrity personified. But then RCR in general, ever since Kevin Harvick left, has been that way. Kyle Busch went on a Hannity podcast or some crap and said they had some sort of advantage, a gray area thing that they had where they won those 3 races, and after they got caught with it, they haven't been the same since, and he hasn't won a race since June of 2023 or whatever the hell it is. So It's been 2+ years. And if he gets to June, which is entirely likely, it'll be 3 years since he's won a cup race. And the guy's one of the winningest drivers in the history of the sport. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I know that we were talking about it. That was the first you had saw it earlier. So
No, I mean, I think for me, I think it's kind of a performative move, right? Kyle Busch has been bad this entire season. Like, basically, this whole season, like, went to bed, like, as soon as he, like, lifted off the gas for the final lap of the Daytona 500. He was up there in the Daytona 500, right? Won the pole, looked all good and everything, and it was like, okay, maybe Kyle Busch is back. But then, you saw something in him, which in theory did look like a smart move, right? Backing out of it in 30th and driving through the wreck to get a 15th place finish. While it was a smart move in that sense, I think the mentality there, just seeing, oh, this isn't worth it. I think that's kind of gotten into his mindset now. So I think overall, I mean, he looks, checked out and everything, and is just either waiting to move on from this or, just holding on to the bitter end for him. But I mean, this move for Kyle, I mean, it's to try to salvage whatever they can from this season. Yeah, they're buried in points, probably won't make the chase, and everything, but at the same time, like, okay, can we at least get him running better? Like, instead of, finishing laps down at tracks where he's been good at before in the past, like, can they at least have him running, like, somewhat competitively and, closer to being on the same level as the 3 car there? So, I mean, it's basically, it's desperation, like you said, but, they're at least trying to salvage things and at least make him look better. But I mean, it goes back to the fact that, RCR, I mean, yeah, obviously the next gen car developed heavily by RCR, so they had that advantage there, and now they've just not been able, once everybody else caught up, they just haven't been able to catch up soon, or catch up back to them. So just RCR has just continued to be where they are. They haven't, other than Austin Dillon winning Richmond 2 years in a row, they just haven't done anything outside there, and I guess the super speedways. So yeah, for Kyle, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, all the free agents and stuff like that, and I think Kyle's a free agent after this year, so there's a question of, does he get re-signed by RCR or not? And I don't know. I mean, think it's time to start, like we said a couple episodes ago, like, time to start weighing your options and seeing where you can go. And obviously, if Hocevar goes to the 48 somehow, which puts Bowman as a free agent at Hendrick. But if Carson Hocevar goes to the 48, I suppose you could maybe swap him or put Kyle Busch in there. But I don't know. I mean, you can't commit to anything more than a 1-year deal, I think, at this point for Kyle Busch, given how things have dropped off for him. So it's unfortunate, right? I mean, he's 2-time champion and everything, but we've noticed it ever since that second championship. Just hasn't been on the same level as everybody else. So things since that, I mean, the RCR, like, it looked like it was a resurgence for Kyle Busch, but ever since that third win at Gateway, it's kind of, things have sort of fallen downhill for him. I mean, he had chances in 2024 to win, but just hasn't been the same for him and everything. And like I said, I think it's probably better off if he just went and ran Truck Series full time and because I mean, he's won in Truck Series, won this year at Atlanta. So I mean, I feel like he'd probably have a better shot at winning there. And of course, the car platform in the Truck Series actually fits him better than how the next gen, how you drive the next gen versus the O'Reilly or the Truck Series trucks. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where this develops and if he can pick up the results. But I think this is the start of the end for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, would have never thought a few years ago when he was winning every week, it seemed like that even prior, like in the end of the Gen 6 era there, that we'd be having the conversations about the end of Kyle Busch. I mean, Hamlin's past 40 and, seemingly like going and testing time based on his commitment, his fitness, but then he's also driving great cars and very motivated, and then also very involved, of course, with his own team too. So definitely contrast there. There's other things there. Yeah, Reddick's contract extension. Boyer and McMurray are going to drive that free agent truck. Dollar Tree doing a multi-year agreement with Jimmy Johnson, personal services agreement amongst other things. So I guess I'll have to go to Dollar Tree to get NASCAR merch. But so we'll move forward. In terms of the draft, the Niners had they traded back multiple times in the first round, traded out to the first pick in the second round and draft Dijon Stribling from Ole Miss, who is getting a lot of comparisons in terms of blocking ability and playmaking ability to Jawan Jennings, except he's like really, really fast. They got a couple of defensive linemen, Romello Height from Texas Tech and Grayson Halton from Oklahoma State. Is it Oklahoma State or is it Oklahoma? He posted Oklahoma State. That's Oklahoma. That's wrong. Then they drafted Kalon Black from Indiana, the running back. So yet another Kyle Shanahan, day 2 running back pick. They finally got some offensive linemen, Carver Willis and Enrique Cruz, 2 tackles. Ephesians Presock, quite a name, cornerback from Washington, and then Jaden Duggar, a linebacker from Louisiana Lafayette. So to add into that linebacker room, they traded D. Winters during the draft. So, adding a DB there with a lot of athletic ability and speed, going with, and they mentioned this here in the Athletic article, Raheem Morris, he knows how to develop these DBs, so I think that's big. Duggar being able to learn from Warner and, why am I forgetting, the Warner and, God, I'm having brain fog today for sure. Bill shutdown training Coleman his best year. Well, yeah, amongst all the things he's doing, they got rid of their coach as though he was a problem because the GM doesn't know how to draft. Dre Greenlaw, there you go. Dre Greenlaw. So being able to learn from those 2 guys and be big. The 2 tackles, of course, trying to add to the depth of the offensive line. We need a left guard, so maybe one of these guys is going to be the left guard to play next to Trent Williams for the next 2 years. One of them will probably be a swing tackle there. Romello Height adding to our defensive line room, of course, having first-round draft pick last year get hurt, ACL. Then you have Buck and Bosa also ACL, so interesting there. We'll see how that all goes. Josh, you didn't have that many picks. You'd given up some picks, of course, for Travis Hunter last year. But what were your thoughts on the draft that the Jags had?
Yeah, obviously 2026 first round pick Travis Hunter as a cornerback here, now playing later this season. So already off to a great start. But no, the pick there, obviously I think it aged well. I forgot who Cleveland picked, but I think this draft was pretty weak. So it wasn't like it was a huge miss or anything like that. Who would have gone in the draft slot for Jacksonville if they had picked it. So ultimately it's fine. But I guess my general sentiment from what I've seen on X and everybody else, there's been people saying what the draft class looks like. I saw one site gave the Jaguars an F in their grade. I think Pro Football Focus gave them a D+. Here, Sports Illustrated D, The Ringer D, USA Today D, Yahoo Sports D-. The Athletic called them losers, of course, all that stuff. And some of it I agree with. Based on what they picked. They picked a tight end. I think blocking tight end at pick 56. Nate Kircher, I don't know how you say his name, but yeah, tight end there, 6th year tight end, so already at age 24, so a little bit older than your typical NFL rookie, so has some age on him and everything. So probably could have picked him later on in this draft, but then again, that started a run of tight ends, I think, in the second round. So I mean, it sounds like they know what they're doing and everything like that for Jacksonville, of course. They had picked an offensive guard in the third round who seems to be really good. Let me find it because I'm trying to find their draft picks here. But anyway, I mean,
Emmanuel
just the criticism.
Pregnon.
Yeah, Emmanuel Pregnon. Yeah, from Oregon. He seemed really good there, but probably the best pick that they had, honestly, and somebody who could be a day one starter there, depending on how things go for Jacksonville with their offensive line. But I think the clear focus on the draft was to get the running game stabilized. Beginning of the season, Travis Etienne had a pretty good game at the beginning of the year. Started out hot against the Panthers, against you guys week 4. Had a 100-yard game, 50-yard touchdown there. But down the stretch, I mean, the dynamic of the team changed to a passing based game with Trevor Lawrence there, and they couldn't rely on the run game as much. And of course, I mean, they were winning and everything like that, but there was clearly an imbalance between the running and passing game. And when Liam Cohen was hired, that was part of the game plan, was to help the Jaguars become more physical as a football team and using the run game to be able to facilitate that. So, I mean, to me, like, I don't care what the people say and everything. I'm just here, trust the process and everything. I may disagree maybe with that first pick that they had in the second round, but honestly, I don't even really care. Like, show me what you have in the playoffs. Okay, that's what I care about. Like, how many people over the years have been wrong about draft classes? They grade them an A, the week after the draft, and then during the season or 2 years later, it turns out to be bad or whatever. So, like, I don't care. So it doesn't matter to me what the people online gonna say. I mean, I'm trust the process. I think what's clear to me is that they had an effort between Coach Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, the general manager, Tony Baselli, vice president of football operations. They all had a thought process that they went through, and they executed it according to how their convictions were. So that's what I will go with. Show me what you have in the playoffs and everything, and whole Duval mentality that we've developed here. It's us against the world. Everybody's going to continue to clown on Jacksonville and everything. Small market team, this and that. Trayvon Walker said last year after they beat the Denver Broncos, and he was like, fuck everybody but us. So that's what I think here regarding this draft class. Everything. Show me what you have when it really matters.
Amen. We'll see how it goes. I mean, the NFL Network, whoever they had writing this article, was pretty kind in general. They didn't really roast anybody's draft. I think a B was the worst grade they gave for anybody, it looks like, from what I see there. Yeah, B minus. Okay, Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, Atlanta Falcons, they didn't seem to do too well, but I'm not really surprised. It's a first draft for Matt Ryan. You have Kevin Stefanski, who probably doesn't know as much, and then Andrew Berry, who's taking some of that capital that he got from Jacksonville for Travis Hunter, and they've gotten some good picks, and it seems like a universal positive, but it is Cleveland. So a bunch of B pluses. Philly getting Mekhi Lemon, David Bailey going to the Jets, getting 3 first-round picks. They had 2 already, and then they traded back up. Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper Jr. in the first round. Giants with 5 and 10 draft Arvell Reese and Francis Mayoga, so getting on both sides of the ball. New Orleans getting a wide receiver in Jordan Tyson for Tyler Shuck. Caleb Lomu there for New England. Minnesota's draft is interesting, to say the least. They don't have a GM, so that's part of it. Dolphins had a lot of picks. They needed to reload their team, and a lot of linebackers, it looks like there. Got some linemen. They're trying to solidify in the interior there. That front seven, I think, because of Halfley or whatever. Trying to see it. Of course, the Raiders with Fernando Mendoza drafting number 1 overall. They're hoping that that'll be the last time they'll be drafting number 1 for a while. The Kansas City Chiefs got Mansour Delane, the cornerback, Peter Woods, defensive tackle. They had 3 of the top 40, so they got a couple of defensive linemen. They focused on defense until the 5th round. They also drafted Garrett Nussmeier as a development quarterback there. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see anything else. Dallas Cowgirls. Only 2 of their picks were on offense. Everything else was defense. Cleveland had 2 first-rounders. That one with Jacksonville was Casey Concepcion. Spencer Fano, the tackle, they traded back to get him. I'm trying to see anybody else. Bills traded out of the first round as well. So, see what happens. Rams end up drafting Ty Simpson, 13 overall, instead of trading back. The Cardinals draft Jeremiah Love, and then Seattle drafted Jeremiah Love's teammate at Notre Dame, Jadarian Price, in the first round, but then they're the Super Bowl champions, so they can do what they want. We'll see how all that goes. There's going into OTAs here shortly. Start the roundup here. The Rally Canary Islands was a battle between Seb Ogier and Oliver Solberg. Was a Toyota benefit, to be fair, but they were battling. It was only a few seconds between the two of them, and then Oliver Solberg went and absolutely demolished himself late in the race on Sunday and knocked himself out of contention, which is just crazy to think that, he eliminated himself that way with a big wreck. Ogier ends up cruising to another victory by 19.9 seconds over Efren Evans and Sami Payari. Takamoto Katsudo came into this rally as a points leader, finished 4th. The best of the Hyundais was Adrian Fourmeau, Thierry Neuville, Danny Sordo at home. What might be his last rally at home there. Josh McElwain finished 8th. Johan Rossell with Lancia in the WRC2 category gets another top 10 finish and the win in WRC2. So credit to him there. Points for the World Rally Championship after Oliver Solberg retires on Sunday, gets eliminated there, just completely wastes the whole entire rally there. Efren Evans is 2 points at a Takamoto Katsuda. Payari is 3rd, 4 points at a Solberg. Fourmeau and Ogier are only separated by 1 point. Of course, Ogier has missed 2 rounds this year, so we'll see how many more he does. Neuville in 7th. Johan Rossell has won and gotten points, and he's gotten points in 3 of the 5 rallies so far this year, so he's 9th in the World Championship. That's pretty good for Rally 2 car driver. The MotoGP and Moto2 were at Jerez, one of the great tracks, long-time tracks for MotoGP. Once upon a time, used to also host the Spanish Grand Prix for Formula One. In the actual race itself, the Grand Prix of Spain, that's not what I'm looking for. Why is it giving me? Alex Marquez goes out there and gets the victory by 1.9 seconds over Marco Bezzecchi. Fabio Di Giannantonio was 3rd. Jorge Martin led 3 Aprilias Iagor Raul Fernandez 4th through 6th. Best Honda was Johan Zarco in 7th. Enea Bastianini, it was best KTM in 8th. Best Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo in 14th. Marc Marquez crashed on the second lap of the race, and then Paco Bagnaia had electrical problems and retired on lap 13. Was that Augusto Fernandez is also so he's filling in. Or no, he ran an extra bike for Yamaha, and I think they're running not good. They're not doing well. The standings going into the next round: Bezzecchi, first time he hasn't won in last five races. 11 points ahead of Jorge Martin. Fabio Di Gianantonio's 3rd. Costa 4th. Marc Marquez 5th. Alex Marquez moves himself to 7th in points, 4 points behind his older brother, and 18 out of 3rd. There, Iagoro, Bagnaia, Bastianini, your top 10. In Moto 2, that's not what I want there. In Moto 2, Senna Agus, your winner there over Gonzalez, Vagier, Alonso, Vietti, your top 5. Joe Roberts gets 1 point in 15th there. So not sure what, at this point for him, what he's getting out of running that bad anymore. I would hate to be running that bad and just filling the field. He's 14th in points, tied with Huertas there with 8. Then he's 4 points behind Baltus and 10.5 behind Alonso Lopez. We'll see what he can do as the season goes on. But the next race will be Grand Prix of France in a couple of weeks' time at Le Mans, then Catalunya, and Mugello to end the month of May. They'll be in Hungary in June, so they'll race, it looks like, 2 weeks in a row, and Mugello in Hungary, and then they'll do Czech Grand Prix, and then also Netherlands back-to-back for okay. All right, move forward. The NHRA 4-wide Nationals, Tony ended up making the final round at the 4-wide, but this time wasn't able to get the victory. Doug Coletta got the win over his teammate Sean Langdon, Smoke, and Leah Pruitt. Ron Capps ended up getting the win in Funny Car in his Napa Auto Parts Toyota. Trying to go so yeah, we'll go through that ladder. So the ladder. So in Funny Car, Capps beat Jack Beckman, J.R. Todd, and Matt Hagan in the final there. In Pro Stock, it was Matt Hartford becoming the first 2-time winner of the season over Cody Coughlin, then Matt Latino and Greg Anderson. Pro Stock Motorcycle, Gage Herrera gets the win over Richard Gadsden, Clayton Hoey, and Chase Van Zandt. Points as they go to South Georgia Motorsports Park this coming weekend. Coletta has a 16-point lead on his teammate Sean Langdon. Leah and Tony are only separated by 3 points. Josh Hart 110 back in 5th. Matty Gordon, Justin Ashley, Billy Torrance, and Tron Brown claim Milliken. 6 points out of his teammate Tony Schumacher. Sean Reed, who didn't race this weekend, is in 12th. Will Smith in 13th. In Funny Car, Ron Capps 48 points out of Matt Hagan, 72 out of J.R. Todd, and 98 ahead of Chad Green. Then Vandergrift, DeJoria, Beckman. So the John Force car is a little bit further back than they're used to. Spencer Hyde in there, Wilkerson, Dave Richards rounding out your top 10. Paul Lee 5 points out. The Austin Proc teams and struggling, Cruz Venturion. So those are cars that you would think will come up. Dallas Glenn, 6 points out of Greg Anderson, 54 out of Matt Hartford. That's the pro stock there. Everybody else behind by over 100 points. Gadsden, 35 points out of Gage Herrera. John Hall, Hoey, Van Zandt, Angie Smith. Your top 6, Matt Smith is in 7th. Decent battle there, just outside the top 10 with Ever Eastone, Braden Davis. They'll be racing again this weekend, so we'll see. Formula E will be back with their doubleheader at Berlin on the airport circuit. Berlin, Formula 7 and 8, round 7 and 8. The standings, the current standings heading into this weekend's race. Verline leading by 11 over Eduardo Mortara. Mitch Evans, who announced he's going to be leaving Jaguar after 10 years, currently in 3rd, 1 point ahead of his teammate Antonio Felix da Costa. Nick Cassidy in 5th. Nico Muller, Oliver Rowland, defending series champion, world champion Jake Dennis, Buemi, and Dan Ticktum, your top 10. In World Superbikes is Nicolo Balega. That's basically what it is. That's really what it boils down to. Balega, trying to go and join other legends in terms of winning as much as he's been winning. Currently, so far this year, he's unbeaten. He's 9 for 9 in races. Lackawanna's teammate has 6 consecutive second places. Oliveira had 3rds in all 3 rounds at his home track. Sam Lowe's had all 3 third places at Assen. And they're the top 3 in points, and Oliveira's 4th. So we'll see if Balega can continue his hot streak there. IMSA will be racing their throwback weekend. So the WeatherTech Sports Car Series at Laguna. Does that say StubHub Monterey Sports Car Championship? Then there will they're gonna do the Corvette racing's throwing back to the year 2000. AO Racing throwing back to, they're calling their paint scheme sketchy, like they went and sketched it out. In terms of this race, it's just the GTP and then the GTD cars. So 25 and 34 entries, prototypes. There's 11 GTP cars. The 3 Cadillacs, 3 Porsches, 1 private Porsche, the Aston Martin, 2 BMWs, and then the 2 Acuras. Of course, Acura will not be back next year, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in regards to if Meyer Shank. It won't be Meyer Shank if they're going to run those cars, because they're going to be committed to helping Acura and Honda run that extra car in the IndyCar series. In GT Pro, there's 9 cars, so there will be the Paul Miller BMW, the 2 Corvettes, the Lamborghini for FAF, Vassar Sullivan Lexus, the McLaren RLL team, which has 2 silvers, the 2 Ford Mustangs, and the AO Racing Porsche. And then 14 entries in the GTD category. Of course, Robert Wickens will be there, driving with DXDT and their Corvette. And then I'm trying to see if there's anybody new or different. I don't think so. As usual drivers here, even with the Sprint. Then, we'll go to Formula 2. So this is going back. It's been a while. Formula 2 only raced at Australia, so can go into Formula 2. We'll be racing this weekend. Formula 3, they won't be racing for a while, but Formula 2 will be. They will make up one of the races that they lost this coming weekend at Miami. They'll also race at Montreal. So Nicholas Soloff won the feature race at Australia. Ruben Camara was second. Lawrence Van Hoopen tied for second there in points. Ritomo Miata, Interpuvisak, Goth, Dirksen, Oleon, Gabriele Mini, and then Colton Herta rounded out your top 10. He's tied with Alex Dunn, who finished third in the sprint race at Australia. So the other American, there is another American, right? Isn't it John Mayer? I think there's another American. I might be wrong. I'm trying to see. Senshorn. I might be just thinking of like how there was last year. So that's one of them is driving in GT Pro there. In terms of Kushmini, of course, driving there. So, all right, can move forward there. So that roundup is done. We will make our picks. And so we have no idea what's going to come here. It's been a month, what the drivers, teams, etc., whatever they've been doing to make improvements on the cars. But, I mean, we have to make, I guess, somewhat informed guesses. I mean, it's basically what it is. It's hard to see why or how they're gonna the common themes of what the season has been so far. I would think that they would stay the same, Josh. But what are your picks for the Grand Prix of Miami?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with one Kimi Antonelli to win the Grand Prix of Miami. Go with George Russell to finish in second, and go with one Charles Leclerc to finish in third.
Yep, makes sense. I will go. And I'll actually deviate here. I will go with Woody to win, with Kimi Antonelli second, and third will be Oscar Piastri. I think that McLaren will give Ferrari a lot of fits this weekend at this track after, I think they might have better downforce package, but it is a track that has some long straightaways, so who knows? Could be wrong, but whatever. And let's go over to the trucks here. So Truck Series back, first time in a while. They'll be on Friday night, 35 for 36, so nobody going home. Bruckshot Jones will be driving the number 1 for Tricon. Sawalich driving the number 5 for Tricon. Clayton Green for Reum. Kyle Busch driving the 7 for Spire. Go through some of these other ones. The 25 will be Parker Kligerman this weekend. Then Tony Breitinger is actually going to be in this race, driving a second Rackley War truck. Connor Jones, who's driving in the Cars Tour regularly. Chastain will be in the 45 for Nice. Corey Roper driving the 62 for Halmar Friesen. Hocevar trying to ride the Dente in the Truck Series now. You have Caleb Costner in the 93. So yeah, I'll go first here on the Truck Series. I'll go with Hocevar. Why not? Keep the momentum going. I think the reality is, if it is going to be a truck regular, I would say Cade Honeycutt, but I'm going to say Hocevar. My wild card pick for this race, just go through the points standings here. There's been 21, 22 drivers, so essentially 11 drivers, you can say through 11. So there's 22 drivers that run every race, and say 22, whatever, it's still 11. I'm gonna go with Hemrick. So let's see. So Truck Series at Texas. Phil says Hurricane, Hocevar to win, and Hemrick wild card. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I'll go with KFB as he continues to only win in the Truck Series. So yeah, go with him. Wild card for me. Go with Andreas Perez.
Andres Perez de Lara wild card. That's solid. He's currently 17th in points. He's only but 30 points out of the cutoff right now, 29 points out of the cutoff. So still pretty tightly bunched there. They've run 6 races. I mean, from 9th all the way to 16th is 30, it's 31. So yeah, 31 points from 9th all the way to 17. So if you can have a good day with the stages, it definitely make up a lot of ground. O'Reilly Series, the Andy Frozen Custard 340. At Texas, it's 40 or 39 for 38. So one car looks like will go home. Dawson Cram is in for, and his dad's actually going to be the crew chief for the 74 for Harmon. Joey Gase's team has 3 cars, the 53, the 35, and neither of them have a driver announced or a crew chief announced. His car has Scott Eggleston, the 55. Larson's in the 88. So Rajah Caruth is in the 32 for Jordan Anderson. And trying to see, Carson Quapple in the 9, Connor Zilich in the 1, Austin Dillon in the 3, so running a one-off here with the Boot Barn, which there actually is a Boot Barn that's recently been open here in Edison, which is weird, but whatever. Yeah, so Josh, you get first dibs here. Who are you looking at to win and wild card?
Yeah, I'll go with Kyle Larson, win the wild card, win the race. And wild card here, let's see. We'll say Jeb Burton is wild card.
All right. Yeah, it's one. We'll see what Jordan Anderson's team's able to do there. I'm gonna go Brent Cruz. I think he goes and gets that first win. Texas, it's been a place where first wins have happened over time. And in terms of a wild card selection, I will go with, want to shortchange it here, so it was a 14, 27, so we'll say, yeah, it literally is 14, so I literally picked a guy who could be my wild card. I'm picking him to win. I was thinking this name first, and then I had about 3 names, but I'll just go Harrison Burton. He's a former winner there. So we both picked a Burton as a wild card. So just deviated on the winners there. Cup Series at Texas. The the Worth 400 at Texas. There's 38 for 40, so nobody going home. Chad Fincham running this weekend again with, of course, Carl Long's team. Corey Heim driving the 67. Otherwise, your usual 36 cars there. So for me, I am going to go Denny Hamlin as my pick to win. And then in terms of the wild card, because it's 35, so it's 17. Yeah, so anybody after 17th. So my wild card pick, I'll go with John Hunter. So Dennis Hamlin to win, and JHN wild card. Josh, you get last dibs here. Who do you look at to get the win here on Sunday at the dump? that is Texas Motor Speedway.
I knew you were yeah, the dump that is Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick to win here again. So yeah, get his 6th win on the year here for 2026 on Tyler Reddick. And my wild card here, I will go with Ross Chastain as my wild card.
Ross Chastain, who in the past has run very well at Texas, but right now they're on a lull there at Trackhouse, so we'll see what Ross can do. Alrighty, so your time, brother. Let us know what's going on iRacing and gaming in the sim segment.
Yeah, this week iRacing, what's happening this week, of course, obviously, yeah, NASCAR iRacing series will be at Texas Motor Speedway this week. So yeah, all 3 series, Cup, Truck, and O'Reilly series at Texas. The iRacing F1 Mercedes AMG W13 Performance Series, that will be at the Miami International Autodrome. So now I guess we have matching iRacing to the real life Miami Grand Prix track and everything. See what else is there here. Draft Master Series at Daytona, Rain Master Series at Circuit des Nevers Magny Cours, Skip Barber iRacing Series Hot Lap Qualifiers, Lime Rock Park, May 7 p.m. From May 1st to May 3rd. Qualified iRacers can set their best time in the FIA Formula 1 car, Formula 4 car at Lime Rock Park with the chicanes in the Time Attack portal on iRacing. So, got that. Let's see. iRacing events. I think cover that. 5 days. Yeah. So, it's not too much news or too many updates on iRacing. Of course, I think the next special event is the Indy 500. Of course, not this weekend, not next week, but I think it's the week after. It's like May. I'm going to say it's May 9 or May 6. I got to look at it here, but it's coming up at least for the fixed iRacing series, and then I think the open iRacing series is the week before the Indianapolis 500. So Racing Special Events 2026, just to have that up there. Special events for iRacing here, except all, May 1 through 3rd, 24 hours of Nürburgring. So that is coming up. That is another special event next week, the 24 hours of Nürburgring. So actually, this weekend is 24 hours of Nürburgring. Yeah. And then the Indy 500, yes, May 5 through 18. So the first week, I think, the first week is fixed. Then the second week is the open series here. So yeah, should be interesting. Got to start preparing for the Indy 500. I think I should be able to run both versions, fixed and open here, and everything. So looking forward to that, of course. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun time there. I found on my Twitch. I didn't realize that this was there, but I mean, I have my win highlight on there on my Twitch page, but I guess like it's I thought the clips, like if you clipped something, like it went away forever, but like it's open there to you. I found this out the other day. It's open to you and whoever was subscribed to you. So which I think is different than following. I think subscribers are people like if you're a paid subscriber or something like that. So I saw some of my highlights that I had on there from iRacing over the years. There's a clip of me, I think, on the next to last lap of a iRacing 87 car race at Daytona, trying to make moves to get to the front, of course. And then, there's a highlight from me at the Indy 500 that I won, where I made a 3-wide pass on the front stretch to get to second as I charged my way to the front there at the very end, and I was fired up there. So, found that on there. Might have to post that on there as well. So, got that there. I also made a TikTok page over the weekend, or over the week. Guess it occurred to me that I needed to post the story of me racing with Dale Jr. At Pocono in the 87 car years ago, right back in 2020. And so I clipped all that, all the parts that where he talked and other people talked, and where he passed me, and then I crashed later on by myself there. But say that all to say is that I posted that on there, and I was totally not expecting this. I don't really know how TikTok works, and I'm the tech guy and all that stuff and everything. I just kind of uploaded their post, whatever, right? And it blew up. It actually got like 24,000 views on TikTok, this highlight, and I've got like 1,500 likes, or 2,000 likes, I don't know, something like that. So doing well. I don't know how that happened. So quite a bit of exposure that I was totally not expecting on TikTok, which obviously a lot of people use that app. I've tried to avoid it for years, and I had decided to download it and try it out and everything and all that. But somehow it blew up. So I don't know. Maybe we need to start posting clips and highlights of this on TikTok or something, which will be a little bit harder not because I don't want to, but the formatting of TikTok is based on your cell phone and stuff. So might have to like rearrange some things in the edit to make it fit on the screen. So I don't know. Maybe that'll be an option for us at some point. So we'll see how that goes, and maybe that'll help us here. So we'll see. But just wanted to say that because I guess it's technically an iRacing highlight, and it'll help me with my iRacing stuff. You can post my highlights there, and people will be like, "Oh, you should go check out my Twitch." So I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, though, I wanted to bring that up and everything. But of course, you can follow me on Twitter, of course, and I always say Twitch because this is the iRacing segment. So yeah, Twitch. uSailor2 on Twitch, of course, X, Twitter, whatever it's called, JP Huffine on there, Gripstrip Podcast YouTube page, we'll have this up there, Josh Huffine Photography, all my photography on there, definitely got to upload some more stuff on there, from photos, and all that stuff, and I guess this new TikTok page, at JP Huffine 8, on there on TikTok if you choose to download that and become an asset for the Chinese government, I guess, jokingly, of course, but should be interesting. So of course, good Talladega weekend, and of course getting closer to the month of May, of course, very close to being able to say that yes, it is indeed May yet. So looking forward to that for the Indy 500.
And be able to celebrate episode 314 of the GSP on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Be my first day of work in a while, too, so that'll be nice. Gripster Podcast YouTube page, GSP 1428, audio feed goes there. Audio feed also goes to philipgmatthew.com and, of course, podbean.com, where we share our show. PG Matthew 28 on Twitter, PGMGSP 28 on Instagram, and, I'm not doing TikToks as of yet. I'm surprised the missus hasn't told me to do that because of her dancing abilities and all this other stuff, but it's enough for me for all the doom scrolling I do on Instagram to go anywhere else anyway. So please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for listening to the Gripstrip Podcast. Josh, thank you as always for all your help and all your contributions, not only on the show but off the show. And we'll be back for episode 314 talking about the Miami Grand Prix, Texas tripleheader, and everything else going on in the world of motorsports. I think the IndyCar Indy 500 Open Test is going on this week, so we can talk about any kind of takeaways from that. And then also the fact that IndyCar will be back, I think, next week at Indianapolis Road Course. They'll be there, so they'll be racing there, and then Cup Series and trucks they'll have a tripleheader at Watkins Glen. Earliest that Watkins Glen has hosted a Cup race. WEC, WRC, MotoGP, all that will be coming next week, so a lot to look forward to. We'll talk about it here on the GSP. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.